Hello, good night. Behind me, the thing up here is a picture. It's the same as the picture on this right here. It's called Page to Stage, which is one of the dumbest names anybody's ever come up with a project. Let me read what's in this little gift they gave to them. The Page to Stage Project by Randall B. Martin. That's me. On a very cold day in January 2014, 25 people are seated around a square table for a bi-monthly meeting to discuss writing, of all things. For 45 long minutes, they discuss conceptual issues about writing. What's that? And then for an hour and a half, they critique each other's writing. And boy, they really do a good job of making shit out of everybody else's stuff. And then they hear it done to themselves. Well, it's 7:10, 10 after 7. There's nobody here. However, if it bombs, I might kill myself. So this could be a last will and testament. I give everything to my beautiful wife, who argues with me constantly about what I'm doing, and a little bit to my kids who never pay any attention to me anyway because they live in California. It's 15 after 7, 16, 20, almost 20 minutes after 7. There's still nobody here. Well, if you don't see me again, so long. Look, there's nobody here.
Yeah, it is.
There's nobody here.
Yes, it is.
Well, what do you think of that?
I was thinking what people came little bit late because they.
Oh, God, she always talks this way. She always tries to put up rose-colored glasses on.
Yeah, but I just think people.
Look, it's going to bomb and I'm going to kill myself.
No, you don't have to do
I'm going to
this.
kill myself.
We just wait.
I'm going to leave everything to you.
Don't tell like that.
Don't talk like that.
No,
She
okay.
said, don't talk like that. All right,
Yeah,
that's
because I
Put
just
it on
thinking people came little bit late before beginning show because they working today.
What can you
after
do
work.
with a woman like this?
I've been a mailman for 20 years. I get along with all dogs except one. I finally had my fill of it. So I rattled the mail slot, the dog attacked it, and I pushed through a heavy envelope as hard as I could, and the dog, yep! The door opened, and I saw a small woman with that damn dog next to her. What did you do to my dog? Alice, I'm going to report you! The postmaster put me on suspension for 60 days. So I began to spend most of the days at the local bookstore. I love books and would often read on my route, but the bookstore closed.
Yeah.
The building was nothing but an empty warehouse. I began to think there wasn't much to live for anymore. So, one night, I got a sleeping bag, unrolled it at the entrance to the former bookstore, and crawled in. Alice came sniffing up, but her tail lip was wagging, and she began to lick my face. So I let her in the sleeping bag. When somebody began to nudge me, Alice growled. It was some guy dressed in a funny costume.
Hi, my name is Bill. Follow me.
The Borders is closed. It's just an empty warehouse.
You'll be surprised.
Whoa! Whoa! It's full of books!
Isn't it something?
Oh.
What a shame, what a shame. You don't know who I am, do you? Don't recognize the English form of dress of the 16th century?
Are you? I'm going crazy.
No, you are far from crazy. What have I told you? I wrote in iambic pentameter.
to my good friend, Ladner, who has kept the faith in a world that doesn't care anymore. Your devoted friend, Bill.
I've been watching you for some time. I can see that you are really a serious and unappreciated reader, one of the few left in the world. And I like it that you read my stuff.
Okay, I know who you are. I've never seen a picture of you other than that droll-looking Englishman in a funny hat.
Yeah.
But if I say anything about this, everybody's going to think I'm crazy.
But they already do. Use what I wrote as evidence that you and I actually met.
They'll say it's a fraud.
I know the feeling. In the last 400 years, I've watched people fawn over my works, argue about what I meant, go so far as to attribute my writing to somebody else.
How long have you been living here?
Oh, I don't live here. Just come and go, hoping I would see someone like you. Very glad you're here.
May I ask you a few questions?
Oh, anything you want.
Did you really write Hamlet? I'm sorry.
Always someone has to tear you down. Any more questions?
I mean, they say you never traveled, yet wrote details about Italy.
Well, of course they would say that. And did you notice that they say I, just plain Bill, couldn't have known that? So there is more evidence somebody else must have done the writing.
What'd you think of the movie Shakespeare in Love?
I liked it. Maybe it really happened that way. I suppose to have been in love and would have liked that, I know.
Oh, but what about Christopher Marlowe?
I liked Chris. Yeah, he was a good writer and had good values. The stories they tell about him, he didn't really die, but lived somewhere else and wrote under my name. It will never end.
How do you feel about questions about your sexual orientation?
Doesn't bother me. Actually, I loved many people. That's the way it was in the theatre then, as it is now.
What were you doing during all those lost years?
You know, for a mailman, you certainly are well read. All those years. But if I tell you, I'll lose some of my mysterious air, and what will the academics have to do then? It'll be light soon. You and Alice better go home.
I wanted to tell someone what had happened last night, but they would accuse me of not taking my medication and at worst call the community mental health center. So I went back to the empty quarters the next night, got into my sleeping bag, and then Alice came bounding up, wagging her tail and crawled in. Somebody shook me, speaking a strange language.
Добрый вечер, Ladner и Alice.
Добро пожаловать!
Good evening, Ladner and Alice. Welcome! Bill told me about you. I am impressed with your devotion to literature. Come in, I have much to show.
Who are you?
My English friends call me Fuck.
What language were you speaking?
Isn't it a beautiful language? But just like with English, they are ruining it.
What's your full name?
No matter. Let's just talk. Bring in Alice and come on in. I've got a lot to say. You are one of the few people who will listen. Many of us talked to the management and told them they must not close a bookstore. Ever! Books are life.
What about ebooks and Kindle?
They are not the same. To be a book, it has to occupy real space. You can feel it, touch it. Turn pages, make notes, rip out a page. Try to autograph a Kindle. A book has to occupy real space. It has to be something you can put on a shelf. People can see what you are reading. It's not just words.
Well, what about cyberspace?
Cyberspace is not real space. The clouds, not the real cloud. These computer people, good writers of fiction. They know how to use metaphors and similes to confuse us. They could have created literature. Many people believe cyberspace, cloud, iTunes, computer viruses, worms are real, like cut and paste. We had to really cut and paste. Oh, cut with scissors, put paste on that, and then place it where it wants to be.
So then you say that computer people are writers.
They are not real writers. Real writers suffer from blocks, depression, criticism, derision. We dream. They don't. We are constantly revising. We try to create something lasting. Die a little getting it right. What programmer has ever tried to revise anything with a few lines of computer code? Char string equals hello world.
I don't understand your language.
I'm sorry, it's a pity. There is so much beautiful about the Russian language.
All I know in Russian is niet.
Oh yes, those fellows made that word famous. No, they were boors. I'm glad I was not alive when they were.
Oh, now I know who you are! Oh my god! Oh, what do you think about the new Moscow subway station where they painted murals depicting stories from your novels?
How did you know about that? They're terrible, depressing. Oh, this generation, there is no understanding them. Do you know what they're doing in your country? Your Supreme Court is debating whether Bill really wrote the stuff. Don't tell anyone that. I've been watching YouTube. Ladder, it's going to be light soon. We both must go. We're going to try and stop you. But don't give up. Ever. Good night, Alice.
So I went back the next night. This time, a woman approached me, even before I had opened the sleeping bag.
Good evening. I've been waiting. You're...